Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogreboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2007 movie Live Free or Die Hard. This is the fourth movie in the Die Hard franchise and it was released 12 years after the third movie, Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is one of the best movies in the franchise. And this one, John McClane is trying to stop a cyber terrorist named Thomas Gabriel from hacking into the government computers and across the United States with the goal of starting a fire cell that would disable key elements of the nation's infrastructure. And he teams up with a hacker named Matt, played by Justin Long, and they're trying to find him, find these hackers and stop them and save America and possibly the world. This one's alright. It's not near as bad as some people say it is. I never have thought it was as bad as a lot of people say. It does suck that it has the PG-13 rating. It is watered down a lot because the first three movies all have an R rating and have really, really great action. But this one, even though it's PG-13, still has some really great action in here too. And they have a lot of good practical effects and stuff in here. They especially like stuff with the cars crashing, and like there's a scene where he drives this car into a helicopter, which really awesome stunt scene. Like a scene where this car like flies over him and Justin Long's character, and they barely get out of that alive. Like this big pile up scene, it's got some pretty cool practical effects and stuff. And there's like a scene where he's in this car that's like falling down this elevator shaft. It's really awesome too. So it has some really, really great action in here. It's not really gory and stuff like it was in the other movies, but I think that as far as the action goes, it's still pretty good for being PG-13. And I watched the unrated version tonight, which is the first time I've ever seen the unrated version, and it has a little bit more of the language and stuff you expect from John McClane and everything, but the violence isn't really a lot different in the unrated from what I remember anyway. I hadn't seen this one in a long time. It was the only other Die Hard movie aside from the first one that I had seen before, so I kind of have a little bit of nostalgia for it too, because I saw this one when it first came out and everything. So I like it because of that too. But I love the cast in here. Bruce Willis is still really good. He's not quite as good in this one as he is in some of the other movies, but you can tell he's having a lot of fun while making this one, and he's even gone on to say that this was his favorite movie in the franchise, which I honestly don't see why, to be honest. But I mean, you could tell he was having fun in this movie. This was probably one of the last movies that Bruce Willis was acting like he really cared about acting in, that I can remember anyway. It might not be the last one, but this is one of the last ones where you really notice that he seemed like he was enjoying himself. And Timothy Oliphant plays Thomas Gabriel, which is pretty cool. He's a pretty good villain he's good at playing villains, and he was pretty good in this, although he's kind of one-dimensional. He's definitely not as good as Hans Gruber or Simon Gruber from the first and third movies, or even really William Sadler's character from the second one. He's definitely a weaker villain, but he's okay. Maggie Q is his second in command in it, and she's his girlfriend too. She's pretty good. I think she's an alright villain too. I think both of them are fine for their roles. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays Lucy McClane, and I think she's pretty good in this one. She I've always liked Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think she's just one of those actresses that I find her really likable, and I've loved her in everything I've seen her in. Whether the movies are great or not, she's always good in them. And I thought she was really good in this movie, and she was one of the main reasons I wanted to see this movie when it first came out, because I really liked her in stuff like Final Destination 3 and Sky High, and there were other movies that came out in that time period that I really liked a lot of hers, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to see this one, is because of her. And she's not in it a lot until they show her for a few minutes at the beginning, and then she has a bigger role towards the end of it. But she's good in the scenes that we get and everything. And I thought it was cool that they brought his daughter in, because if I remember right, she's not in 2 or 3. I actually know she wasn't in 3. I'm pretty sure she wasn't in 2 either. And she was briefly seen in 1, but it was a different actress. It wasn't Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing her in this one. But it was still cool getting to see her in this movie and everything. And Justin Long as Matt is pretty good. At I almost said Will Ferrell. That would have been a totally different movie. Him and Bruce Willis have really, really great chemistry together. They work really good together, and they both work well off of each other. And Kevin Smith has a small role in here, and he even helped rewrite some of the scenes in this movie. And like some of the scenes that he was in and everything, but he's really good in the few minutes we see him. I love Kevin Smith though, so it didn't really bother me seeing him in here. Him having the Boba Fett cardboard cutout thing was pretty cool, and the little banner between him and McClane was pretty cool and everything, and I liked him in here. I know that Kevin Smith has talked about like stories of them working together and how him and Bruce Willis just didn't really get along and stuff. I need to watch that Q&A. I haven't seen that one yet, but so I could hear more about it. But I'm curious to see what it would have been like. But I like this cast and everything. They're all good in here too, and I will say that it could have been a better movie. Definitely, there are way better movies in the franchise. It's definitely not on the level of the first and third. I don't know if I like it more than 2 or not. I'm still debating on that, because I really did think 2 had some really great action stuff. It just wasn't quite as good as 1 and 3. But I think I like 2 more than this one as well, because like I said, but this one did have a alright story, but it is kind of an out there premise with the cyber terrorists and stuff being, they really did want to take this in a new direction, which in a way it worked, in a way it didn't. I think this movie could have been a lot better than it was. Could have been a lot worse too, though. It's just one of those. It's alright. I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets. I know a lot of people hate this movie, not as much as I hate the next one in the franchise, which I haven't seen yet. I'm curious to see if I'll think that one's as bad as everyone says, but this one I don't think is. I don't think it's a great movie, but I don't think it's a terrible one either. It's just mediocre. Die Hard is one of those franchises that I feel if they would have just left it with 3, it would have been fine and everything. But this one isn't like offensively bad or anything. I'm fine with it that we got another one and everything. I think it's all right. I will say that I do wish that Samuel L. Jackson would have came back, though. It just would have made the movie a little bit better. Like, Justin Long and Bruce Willis had really good chemistry. If they could have found a way to write Samuel L. Jackson in there where it would make sense and stuff, and like have the 3 of them interacting together, that would have been a lot of fun to see. Plus, like I said, just Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson working together is always a lot of fun to watch, because they work really great together. But all in all, I think Live Free or Die Hard is a decent movie. It's not super great, but it's good for what it is. So I'd say I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's really entertaining. It would have been even better with an R rating, and maybe if the story would have been told a little bit better. And it did have some pacing issues for me too. Like, the movie's a little bit over 2 hours. I think they could have cut it down about maybe 15 minutes or so. It would have been a little bit better, but for what it is, it's an entertaining movie. So yeah. So anyway, that's my review for Live Free or Die Hard. Let me know in the comments what you think of this movie. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to do this one. I did the first 3 all last month, and I'm just now getting to this one because of my old DVD. The DVD copy I had didn't work, so I had to reorder a new one, and I'm just now getting around to watch it. I'm gonna watch the 5th movie here sometime in the next few days and try to have that video out sometime next week. If nothing else, at least within a week I'll have that video out. And thank you all for watching, and like I said, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie. Do you think it's one of the worst movies in the franchise, or do you think it's just alright like me, where it's definitely not one of the best movies in the franchise, but it's still an okay movie? Let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.